Shake that.
Every day I'm shuffling.
We are back. Me and Evan, Pete and Evan, back for another episode of Lost in the Shuffle. What's up, Evan?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Happy to be here. Happy, what's today? Today's Tuesday?
Happy Tuesday. Yeah, it's actually 420.
Oh, it's 420. I'm taking a
Yeah.
drug test tomorrow, too. I told you, right?
Yeah, you did. Are you going to pass it?
Yeah, I already took the at-home kit
Oh, nice.
just to double check.
Good
I was
stuff.
like,
Yeah, man. It's
how
420.
long
It's
ago
crazy.
was early February? Okay, I should be good.
Well, and it's crazy now too, because 420, pot is legal. So,
Right.
I think it's a lot. 420 is probably a lot different than it used to be. And I'm not sure what that exactly means, but for stoners or whatever, it probably is different. I feel like not that stoners like live a rebel life or anything, because I know cannabis to them is like should have been legal the whole time and they're not living on the edge. But I just think something about 420 for me is like, I don't know, thinking about it is different. It used to be like this, like, oh, it's 420.
Taboo, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, it's 420. Like it's national, like, pot day or whatever. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. It's casual, I guess. So it's interesting.
Well, when I think 420, I also think about Columbine. Didn't Columbine happen on 420?
Oh God, that's not what I was thinking. I don't know. Did it? I'm not
Because
sure.
isn't 420 Hitler's birthday too?
It might be. That sounds like one of those random facts that I might have to look up right now.
I got to do this. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Hitler's birthday,
it
April
is.
20th, 1889.
Yeah, it is. Holy shit. I
And
never knew
then
that.
Columbine
I will never forget that now.
Columbine shooting. Yeah. April 20th, 1999.
Jesus. Well, those are some really awful things to be associated with the day that everyone celebrates. But,
I know. Thank God we're not high thinking about it.
Yeah, right. Maybe it's good that on 420 people just forget everything. I guess that's the reason that they made it on the 20th.
Yeah. But that's what I thought about today, because I mean, that's just what I remember. I was like, yeah, it was Hitler's birthday, because I thought that's why they did that shit, because it was Hitler's
I have
birthday.
no idea what, honestly, it's terrible. I have no idea what the meaning behind 420 is. It like the first time that like cannabis was like recognized as some sort of like, I don't know, big drug or
From what
something?
I heard, that it had to do with police callings, like, and I don't even think that's true, but I was like, we got a 420 in progress, like, like someone smoking weed, but I don't even think that's true.
Yeah. So if you look up 420 in the dictionary, it says April 20th, 420, considered as an occasion for smoking or celebrating the smoking of marijuana. It doesn't say what is the meaning behind it. 420, cannabis culture slang, marijuana and hash consumption. Smoking around the time 420 refers to the cannabis. I don't know. I can't find anything that says it. Maybe if somebody knows, they can comment in the.
Yeah, please let us know if you do.
I've always known that it's 420, but I really never knew why exactly.
Have you ever celebrated before, Evan?
Never.
Never? I remember in college we would celebrate, and it was like, like I dabbled. Of course, I enjoyed it. And then there were kids who were like, it's a fucking holiday, where they're just like, all right, clear schedules, gravity bong, and they go like nuts, and they'll build volcanoes and bags. And it's like, all right, dude, like take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen everybody on Instagram all day posting about that, about the day and how it's arrived and how excited everybody is.
Our age people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Well, I think, but the thing about like pot now is like, or cannabis, whatever weed, whatever you want to call it, it's just so, it's like a normal thing now. So to post about it now versus posting it about it a couple of years ago, 3 years ago is almost completely different.
Could get you in trouble.
It's weird though. I don't even know, like, are companies going to be like drug testing, like employers moving forward? It sounds like they are.
So I'm getting drug tested tomorrow for for a new job. So I guess what they say is we still have the right to deny you employment if you test positive for these drugs, right? So I guess they reserve the right to withhold your employment if you do, regardless if it is because it's only on the state level. It's still not federally recognized, right?
Right.
So
I don't know. I just find that interesting. I was always wondering once they made it legal, would it
I mean,
impact? Like, how
that's
would
pretty silly though, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's like
think it is kind of
alcohol.
weird.
So if you're of
Exactly.
age, it is legal and you can consume it. We're still going to hold it against you if it shows up in your system, right?
Right. I think to your point though about it being only legal in certain states, maybe that has some impact on it. But you would
Right.
think if you're getting a job in that state, then it shouldn't impact your career in that state. But I don't know. Maybe that'll change eventually. But who knows, man? It's
Yeah.
fucking weird. Happy 420.
420.
What are you
Yeah,
drinking?
man. I am supporting my favorite local brewery called Ike and Oak. I love
Ike and
them.
Oak.
They got great beers. This one is it's called Broken Carabiner. They got a lot of cool artwork. Their artwork is like a little bear. He's really, really cute and chubby. But it's a green tea ale, Evan. It's very smooth. It's not hoppy, not like an IPA or anything, but it's a green tea ale. And it's pretty smooth, 5.8% by volume.
Okay.
Thank you, Ike and Oak.
Nice, dude. Looks good. I like the can. Presentation is nice.
What about you?
Solid color. I am drinking another Maplewood. Last time I was drinking a Maplewood and it was a Charlton.
Yes.
Did you try it?
I picked that up this weekend when I went by my aunt's house. I picked them up.
Nice. How was it? Did you enjoy
They were
it?
good.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this time I'm drinking the Maplewood, but this is called the Son of Juice. And it's more like hazy a bit more. So it's like got more like fruity tones to it. And it's an IPA. So really good. I would say it's probably about as good as the last one that I had. The Charlton, maybe a little better, but on the side it says juicy, juicy, juicy. So
Oh wow, 3 times?
3 times, I know. Yeah, so it's good. I recommend out of a 10, I'd probably give it a 7. I'd say one of the better beers I like. So solid 7.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful. Well, let's see. What do we got going today, Evan?
You tell me.
Oh yeah, we have Jameis Winston's pump up speech first off. So, did you get a chance to see the video?
I saw parts of it on the internet. I saw it on TMZ, I think, posted some of it. I follow them on Instagram. They're a pretty good follow. And they had posted it. I checked it out. It seems like he's made some growth. Seems like he might be a bit more in tune with what people want to hear and what to say versus being a complete dumbass. So I think you might have a clip of it, right?
Here is can you hear it?
Yeah. No, not very good, actually.
This is a former clip of his pumping up his team before the game, asking them to eat a W. So
shoving his fingers in his mouth.
Who wants to eat a W tonight? He keeps asking. And then someone else jumps in and was like, all right, enough with that bullshit. He also in trouble for stealing crab legs. There was a debacle. It said F her right in the P. And then this awkward eat a W. And then his training methods where he's like going against the heavy bag was kind of weird. But as much as we can laugh at him because he got a lot of funny stuff, there's memes of him and stuff like that. I really like this speech that he was talking to with these kids. And he's just telling them, I was the number 1 draft pick. And now I'm a laughing stock. But I'm about that business. And he knows Dak Prescott's there, but I'm working harder than anybody else. Because he's doing things every single day to commit to the dream. So he goes on to talk with these kids and stuff. But I thought it was just pretty self-aware of how he knows he was taken first in the draft. And, he throws how many interceptions a year and kind of like you said, as a laughing stock. But the fact that he still has persistence, tenacity, and he's still man enough and proud enough to say, hey, I'm about that work. I'm still putting in to chase the dream. I just thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it's fun to rag on people and stuff, but people that are chasing their dreams and are putting in work and being a role model to kids. I mean, he doesn't got to spend time with those kids. I think that's a cool thing that should also be highlighted, right?
I completely agree. Yeah, man. I think it definitely shows some maturity, some humility. I think he realizes, like he said, I was a top pick in the draft and look at me now. I'm struggling to make my way into this situation, but I'm here and I've learned, and this is what you got to do to get to this place. And be smart. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I love when athletes talk to younger kids. I think being an athlete, you have like so many opportunities to do good in this world, especially for kids. So many kids look up to athletes. I think more than they realize. And I feel like sometimes athletes like get out of tune with like how much power and inspiration they actually have. And so to see him, standing there talking to those kids and hyping them up, and those kids will remember that the rest of their life. Like, no fucking doubt about it.
I
Like,
was going to
20
ask
years.
you, Evan, you could probably name every single athlete you met as a child, right? Or a specific time that you met with. Like, I remember I went with all my cousins to Fox Valley Mall and I met Brian Urlacher and Anthony Thomas, and we waited in line and we got pictures. Like, those are, I mean, who remembers Anthony Thomas? Pretty much nobody,
Dude.
but I mean, Bears fans do, but you know what I mean? Just like little stuff like that. And you have like these vivid memories or details. What about you? You remember any experiences as a child with athletes?
Yeah, so I've met a handful of celebrities from multiple occasions. When I was really younger, or a lot younger, I met Tony Kukoc. He was at a restaurant. He was playing for the Bulls then when they were like amazing, an amazing team. I walked right up to him, and I walked up. He was eating dinner with like some woman. I assume it was probably his wife at the time. My mom let me go walk right up to him. I was probably like 6 years old, so like he couldn't like get away from me.
Yeah, right.
Walked up to him with a napkin, and I just said, "Hey, can I have your autograph?" And he was like super nice and signed the napkin. And then I went back to the table that I was sitting at. But like, I'll
Wow.
never forget that. I mean, I was like a little like freaking baby practically. Right?
Yeah.
And I still remember like walking up to him now, and him being like really nice. So like, I mean, it's just crazy how like that moment will just stay with you forever. And he obviously has no idea about it, but for somebody, for a kid to meet like a superhero, essentially, it's crazy. I even remember meeting Olin Kreutz at
Really?
at an auto show when I was a little kid too. So
We
yeah, man,
met
it's
Kyle Long
crazy.
together, remember?
What?
We met Kyle Long together, remember?
We did, yeah, after a hard gym
After
session.
a
Yeah.
lift. Yeah, we met him in a Walmart parking lot, remember?
Yeah, I remember. And then we took the photo. I remember like sizing ourselves up to like, hey, he's not that fucking big.
Yeah, yeah. You were
I can
making we
fucking
were
get
making
past
fun
him.
of his little titties too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fucking rush past him.
We were like, oh, he's got little bitch titties though, right? It was the off season. We'll give him that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy I've met because I went to basketball camps, and so I think those are more set up. So I mean, and I think Jameis, that looks like it might have been a camp or maybe like a football something.
It was the Kenny Shaw football camp in Orlando, Florida.
Okay. So regardless if it's a camp and they're getting paid to do it, or if you see them just organically out in the street, as long as they are kind to you, it's going to leave an impression. Actually, who fucked me over was Mike Ditka. I was with my buddy Sam, and we were downtown, and we were with his mom, and she was driving all around Chicago. I think she was going to Marshall Fields. This was a long time ago. And she pulled over and she said, hey guys, like, you got to stay in the car. I need to run into Marshall Fields to grab some makeup or something like that. She's like, do not get out of the car. I'm double parking. It was downtown. She pulls over.
She double parked to go get makeup?
Yeah, she's like running to Marshall Fields real quick, like off of State Street or something. And she was gonna run in and grab the makeup, and like at the counter, like when you walked into Marshall Fields, everything was like, especially the makeup was right there.
Right there, yeah.
She went in to go get it. Sam and I are sitting in the car, and this was like an older car. Like, she didn't have like a key that could open the door or anything. It was like a cheaper car. This was like back in the 90s or early 2000s, 90s. I don't even know. And we're sitting in there. She says, don't get out of the car. She's gone. We see Mike Ditka walking by. We're like, holy shit, fucking Mike Ditka. We get out of the car. We run over to him, close the door. We're like, hey, Mike, can we get your autograph? He fucking looks at us. He's like, get out of here, kids. And just keeps walking. And then we're like, wow, what a fucking dick. We walk back to the car, locked out, dude.
Oh, man.
Double parked like on State Street, locked out. Mike Ditka didn't give his autograph. His mom comes out of Marshall Fields and's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like,
we're gonna need some help.
Autograph, and we can't get in the car. So she had to call his dad. His dad had to drive downtown to get us into the car. It was a fucking
he's probably so pissed.
So pissed. Like, his dad's like super like, old school Italian guy, just like, what are you doing? Just like, come on, that
You
kind of
fucking
shit.
idiots. Yeah. He wasn't even that good of a player.
Yeah, exactly. That's my Mike Ditka story. So fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit.
Man, never thought Iron Mike will fuck you over like that, dude.
I know, dude. And we were young, like we were like still like cute kids at this point, I would like to think, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't understand how athletes get to that point where they're like too cool to like not sign something for a kid or take a photo. Like I would never, especially if it's just like a circumstance where it's just like you and the athlete and they're not in like getting bombarded by all these people. Like, how do you not just stop for 1 second and take a photo and like change that person's life just for that, moment?
I understand both sides, right? Because I mean, also too, it's like everyone has good days and bad days, whether you're famous or not. And it's like you're getting bombarded constantly. It's like, dude, I'm trying to go, or like maybe I got to take a shit, or I'm just trying to get lunch. I'm fucking hungry, And it's like everyone comes at, I want a picture. I don't want to give you a picture. That's not your right. You don't get to have one with
That's
me.
fair.
Just because I'm famous. You know what I mean? But then also too, it's pick and choose those points because they do make such impressionable remembrances for children, right?
Right. I mean, we weren't asking to interview him, nothing. Literally
Right.
just say hi, sign something if we have a pen and paper, take a photo, done. Like, no, we're not trying to take any more than 5 seconds out of your day.
Right.
For you to leave an impression on our life for the rest of it. But for you to turn that down because of 5 seconds to me seems a bit ridiculous. And it happens a lot, I think, in that world, the celebrity world.
Yeah.
Like you're only famous because we're all obsessed with you. So like,
Right.
why don't you learn to appreciate like, those people around you, especially when they're kids. So I don't know. But you know what I did see that you sent me actually on Instagram, which was really cool. Another cool thing that athletes do and celebrities. I love it when they get involved with like people who are like sick or just underprivileged. I think that's like such an awesome thing about sports, to see them interact with people who are in rough situations. That's awesome.
Yeah. So tell him what he did for the Bulls player.
Yeah, I mean, so it wasn't like crazy, but there's this, if you haven't seen it, there's a clip of this, looks like a young boy who's going through some sort of like cancer treatment. Probably looked like he was like in the middle of a chemotherapy treatment. And he's at I think it was the Boston game, maybe, that they played the other night. And Nikola Vucevic is like walking out of the tunnel, and this boy says like, I'm like fighting my battle against cancer.
I dunked on cancer.
I dunked on cancer. Yeah. Which was like a nice, like fun way to say like, hey man, like come help me. I'd love to get a photo with you and I'm struggling and whatever. And Vucevic sees it, goes over to the kid, signs the paper, the poster, even says like, go get your phone. I'll take a photo with you, pumps his fist with the kid. I just love that kind of stuff. It just like touches your heart. You know what I mean? It makes you just feel like, man, like there is some good in the world. So I love seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Especially kids that are sick too. I mean, that's just like, that's the most heartbreaking thing to see. I mean, anybody that's sick is heartbreaking, but just when it's a child, like a young kid who has, their whole life in front of them. Yeah. When athletes have that opportunity, you make more of a difference and an impact than you think you do. Right.
Right.
That 13 seconds, that 25 seconds that it took for you to do that. Yeah. It can change your life, can give that person the energy to go through another treatment, to go through whatever, like he has that to hang on to,
Yeah. And you really could almost look at it the other way around too. Like, I feel like that could also really inspire Nikola Vucevic to like play harder and realize the level that the health that he has and like the place that he's at in his life where he can inspire somebody, as somebody who's going through something like that is like confiding in him for strength, I think is pretty unique in itself. So I think for both ends, it's really impactful. I also love it too when like sports guys, like, because sports just is so powerful. I feel like people that don't watch sports like don't understand, but like when they like do nice things for people that like have special needs. Like the other day I saw there was like a football team, and like there's like, I don't know if it's the equipment manager or what, but it looked like he had some form of like maybe autism or something like that. And he was like trying to jump and he was touching the where they measure your vertical,
Yeah.
So he jumped
Those
and he hit it.
sticks.
Yeah, he jumped and he hit it. And there was like the whole football team is watching him. Obviously, he didn't jump very high to like someone who knows what's going on. But to him, he like jumped high and they were like hyping him up. And then they were like trying to get him to do it one more time and jump a little higher, which to you or me wouldn't be anything. But he jumped higher, and then they just go up to him and like cheering him and grabbing him and screaming. He's like so excited. It's like one of those things. It's like kind of funny for everybody to watch, but it's also like so like, you know, it's like really sweet to like see them like just really encourage him.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like I mean, everyone's laughing and having fun with it, but it's also comes from a really good place, and so I just love that about sports.
Yeah, like when you see those little kids running in touchdowns and everyone's falling all over the place, right? Yeah, you know, it takes them 25 minutes to run 60 yards,
but they finally get there, and they all they know is that they scored, and everybody's happy. So I love those kind of moments in sports, and I feel like with social media now, you see them so often, but I don't get tired of seeing them. I think they're all great. So.
But I think that also keeps people in check too, right? The amount of cameras that are in your face and the amount that you're on, just on the spot. Like, hey, I could get caught looking like an asshole real quick too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Having cameras nowadays are coming to play in many ways, for sure. So.
All right. Speaking of athletes. How about this? Salvatore Perez delivers on a Bucks bet with Brett Phillips. So just to share with everybody, Salvatore Perez right here is the catcher for the Kansas City Royals. And he used to be teammates with Brett Phillips, who plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. They made a bet before the Super Bowl that if the Buccaneers win, that Salvatore Perez has to wear a Buccaneers jersey. Phillips is from Tampa. And Salvador Perez plays for Kansas City, the Royals. Also, Patrick Mahomes is the part owner of the Kansas City Royals. So, this is all cute. These guys going back and forth. He made like a video. Do we got ourselves a deal or what? And he's like, you got to wear a jersey when we play each other. So then when they played each other, which was yesterday, Salvatore Perez had to wear the jersey while he's taking batting practice. Patrick Mahomes, the best. So it's cool. They got some pictures. It was just, all in good fun, right? But Patrick Mahomes is part owner of the Kansas City Royals. So the guy that kicked your ass in the Super Bowl, now your team, the guy, the part owner, the team, the players are wearing his jersey or wearing Brady's jersey. So Brady tweeted, in response to the Royals said, sometimes words speak louder than actions. And Tom Brady says, nah, I think action always speak louder than words. Patrick Mahomes comes back. I guess we will see in 20 years. So that's fun little back and forth banter with, football players, baseball players. So what do you think, Evan? You think he's going to have the last laugh when it comes in 20 years or what?
I don't know, man. I think Tom Brady is it's going to be tough he's got 7 Super Bowl rings.
7.
Patrick Mahomes is 1. I think the difference in between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, one, I'm not going to give off numbers because I'm going to find myself not having any more to read off, but I'm going to say, so the main difference between the two of them is the way that they play. And I think that Patrick Mahomes exposes himself to a lot more potential damage on his body long term. I think because Tom Brady is such a good quarterback in the pocket, it's why he's still playing, and it's why he's seen minimal injury. It's why he's so been able to kind of find guys and recruit and stay healthy and play at the age that he is. So I don't see Patrick Mahomes beating him just because I don't know if his body will allow him, because he's always cutting and slashing and diving and getting hit. And I mean, because
his style up quarterback. And yeah, we've seen that already. You've seen he had, what was that, a knee or an ankle issue, right? In the game right before when Chad Henne had to come in and send them to what was that, to the AFC Championship or to the Super Bowl, whatever it was.
Right.
Right. So we have seen that already.
Yeah, I don't see how he makes it that deep into his career when he's already exposing himself to such bodily harm. So I don't see him surpassing him. I think he's a hell of a quarterback, and I think he'll win a few more Super Bowls, no doubt about it. But what Tom Brady has done is very unique, and in my opinion, he's the greatest of all time. So, yeah. It's my
Yeah,
take on that.
I agree with you there. I think it's just one of those things that we're going to be able to tell our children, yours coming in July, right?
Yes, July.
That we just seen, the best quarterback to ever play football. It's just a hard act to follow. And if it were to happen, I don't think it happens in the same lifetime. You know what I mean? For two of the best to overlap each other like that, you know what I mean? It's the same reason why like Jordan never played against LeBron, right?
No.
Right. Yeah. So
and I think guys now are so much more athletic that and more skilled, and there's a lot more of them. So I think it's going to be more difficult for Patrick Mahomes to win. And it's such a team sport where like basketball, like if you're comparing basketball to football, it's completely different in a way, because basketball, all you need is like one or two superstars.
Yep.
With football, you need an entire team. Like it's way more of a team sport. Like your O-line needs to be good, your running back, your receivers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the ball too. So
the ultimate team sport, like you said, to to basketball, that's why they team up 2-3 guys, right? And now we're gonna just pretty much run it, right?
Right. And I mean, and like baseball is also a really big time team sport. However, if you have a few good, like a couple aces that can get you far into the season and then you make it in the postseason, I mean, a really good couple pitchers can get you far, even if your offense isn't doing much. Like as long as you've got a good pitcher, typically from my experience in watching baseball, it seems like they can carry you pretty far.
Right.
Too.
You would need a staff, because a pitcher pitches once every 5 days roughly.
Sure.
So if you're taking, once you get to the playoffs, pitching wins in the playoffs, wins
Right.
World Series. The better staff usually ends up winning because it's the best hitters versus the best pitchers. So, it all comes together, but I think basketball just stands alone when it's the amount of impact a single player can make.
Right. Which is also another reason that I think people don't watch basketball as much as they used to. I just don't think, I feel like going into seasons, especially because now how guys are just always teaming up with each other, because of that, it's like you already know who's going to win before the season even starts. So versus like other sports, even if you have a bunch of good guys, a good collection of guys, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win. I think we kind of saw it this year, though. I think, the Buccaneers really had everything and they did win, but they still have faced some challenges. It wasn't like an easy road there. I think they started off pretty rocky too in the season.
The Buccaneers?
Yeah.
They lost to the Bears, remember?
Yeah, they did lose to the Bears.
That's fucking rough.
That's really bad. It's about as bad as it gets. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So anyways, to your question again, I think we ran a little rant there, but yeah, I think Mahomes will win a few more Super Bowls, but I don't think he's going to catch Tom Brady. And if he does, that's very impressive. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers can't do it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever too. I mean, I know he's a Packer, but like at the end of the day, I got to appreciate his game. Like he's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. The fact that he only won one Super Bowl is a travesty to him and his team.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
You can't put pieces around him to capitalize on that.
Yeah. It's unbelievable really, when you think about it. I mean, he's been pretty healthy his entire career. And he's just seems like he's got a really good like football IQ, but you can tell he knows what's going on at the line. He wants to change a play, and his arm is ridiculous. He just makes unreal passes, and he's only got one ring, which is just I can't remember who they beat. Who did they beat to win that? Do you remember?
I think it was in 2009 or 2010. I don't remember who they beat though.
Yeah, me either. Whatever.
I didn't watch it. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck the Packers.
Well, speaking of football, let's see. Can you see it? Here we go.
Love Maplewood.
So the NFL just approved the first position-specific helmet for linemen. So their initiative here to reduce the amount of concussions, issues with the brain, CTE. They have these new helmets for linemen, and they have these little bumpers on them on the fronts of their helmets where they have like the most impact. So it's going to hopefully reduce the amount of concussions, because here NFL paid out $765 million to more than 1,000 retired football players of concussion lawsuits because the league concealed knowledge of dangers of repeated blows to the head. So that's pretty shitty. First off, you're, the NFL, and you have this knowledge that you concealed the dangers of repeated blows to the head. So they paid out, $765 million to these players. And I mean, that also goes to this too. Phillip Adams, he was a safety or DB. Do you remember this a couple weeks ago? This was April 8th. He shot 5 people, including a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and then he shot himself. I don't know the motive. They said they don't have a motive, but I can't help but think that CTE played a huge role in that.
Yeah, you would have to think so. I think, and they said, I think the doctor that he killed, or the physical therapist or whatever, I think he had seen him before. Like that had been I think that was his physical therapist or his doctor at some point. Like the family had used them. But I don't know. Yeah, man, you'd have to think that brain injuries are what led to that. Cause I don't think there was a clear motive. Obviously there's no motive or any reason that you should ever do that.
Right.
So, but I would imagine the CTE stuff played into it, but that's great to hear about the bumpers and stuff.
Yeah, especially for positions that take such blunt force, head-to-head contact constantly. So yeah, I think it's great. They're going to put some bumpers on there for high impact zones to kind of cushion that blow. And it's one of the highest protect or the safest helmet. It's the Visis 02R Matrix. It's like the highestly safest performing helmet out there. So
yeah,
props to the NFL.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, football is such a just like a I don't even know what's the word I'm looking for. I mean, it's such a physical sport, so I think that's great. And they're always under a microscope for the concussion protocols and everything like that nowadays, which they should be. So I think that's great that they're making that update to their gear and protecting their players. It's very impressive. I mean, and hopefully they can continue to come up with new things to keep those guys safe, because it's really fucked up to see, that these guys really do have really life-altering injuries after the fact. So
yeah, because
it's crazy. Like I wonder, like with UFC, like what the hell are those guys going through? I mean, my God,
I mean, I think they're just psychos from the jump.
I mean, like it's just fucking crazy. Like if some guy is like playing a lineman, he's running out with a helmet on his head and pads. Like I can't even imagine what like Nate Diaz's brain looks like.
Well, I mean, you heard how he talks, right?
Yeah,
he talks like an idiot, though. But I mean, look at Muhammad Ali. I mean, Muhammad Ali, most famous boxer, very successful. I mean, he can't speak because he has no motor skills. Well, he died, right?
He can't speak because he's dead. That's right.
But I mean, before he died, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he had so many problems. It's repeated hits to your head and your brain bouncing off your skull. So, I mean, you can't help but think. So when that's what they talk about in UFC, we have a certain amount of cage time, because of how much, stuff that we go through during a period. You could break your nose in like every fight. You could pop an orbital bone that you got to have surgery for. I mean, the same cuts open over again. So you have a certain amount of cage time that you need to capitalize on. And that's kind of what they talk about in the UFC. That's why, promotion is such a big thing, because I'm not promised 3 more fights after this. I could be done. I could be injured and never get another shot or whatever it is. So that's why, I think promotion is such a big thing when it comes to fighting, and especially UFC.
Fighting is so crazy to me. Like, I've never been in a fist fight in my entire life. And
I find that hard to believe. Really?
I just avoid confrontation. Like I've never been one to disagree with people too much. Like, like there are some things that I do not like about certain people, but like overall, like I just get along with a lot of people. Obviously, if bad ethics or values come into play, and then sure, I'll disagree with somebody, but I'm not usually very like vocal about how I disagree with people, and I usually just take the high road and just say it's not worth it.
I'm pretty sure I can think of some nights where we had some pretty close encounters with fisticuffs.
I know you've been in a couple situations, but I've just never like. Do you remember that guy? He like, didn't you say some guy came in and like tried to like sleep in your place that one night or something like that? Like you were sleeping and he like, walked into your house or something.
Well, I got robbed one night, but I invited him in. That was my fault.
Oh yeah.
And then there was a homeless guy. Well, I don't know if he was semi-homeless or whatever, but he was keeping shit in the backyard of my house. Remember? And I told him you can't because the girls upstairs were creeped out. He's like in our backyard, creeping around, hiding stuff in like garbage bins and stuff. And I told him, I'm like, man, you got to get your shit out of here. You got to move it. You can't keep it back here. Okay. I mean, like DVDs and like rugs and weird stuff. And then he wasn't moving. I was like, I'll give you a week to move it out. And he kept coming back. So I called the cops like one afternoon and the cops rolled up and they're like, hey, what's up, man? And they're like, took it like why you got 2 cell phones? And he had 2 cell phones. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
And I watched it. I was just like,
you warned him. You said, man, you got to get your stuff and go. You didn't listen. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
But there was another guy who tried to come in the house. Yeah, he started banging on the door. He was drunk.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then we got into a fight in the front in the little hallway right there.
Yeah.
Because he just came up. Bump, bump, bump. He had to think it was the wrong house or he was at the wrong place or something. But I was just celebrating 420-ish or whatever, So I come outside and I'm just tweaked out, right? And he's banging. I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm like, you don't live here, man. He's like, come outside. So then we started fighting, threw the phone down, called the cops. And then I get the Febreze and I'm like, shh, just like spraying down the place. But yeah, I mean, that's just part of living in the city. Living in fucking Wrigleyville, dude, everyone is a scummy kind of person. So you run into situations where you kind of just have to do something sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I have like a couple friends, one of them in particular that like used to get into fights all the time. One who at my bachelor party, you and him were wrestling.
I was going to say, I fought at your bachelor party.
Yeah.
That wasn't a fight. That was like a mutual wrestling match.
Yeah, that was. We should tell that story sometime.
It was mutual, but yeah.
But anyways, like I have watched him get in multiple bar fights. And like I would try and the whole time I'm like, stop. I'm never like trying to throw punches. I'm always like, no, stop. It's not worth it. Quit. Because I've just seen so many bad things happen like on TV or heard about people getting hit and then they fall and hit their head on the sidewalk.
Yep.
And they go blind or they get a concussion or they go into a coma and then somebody's getting sued. Someone's getting charged with something. So for me, it's just not worth it. Like,
well, you're right though. You are right most of the time because if it's, something that's really not that important, then it's not worth it because something like that happens and the rest of your life is ruined or changed forever.
Yeah. There's nothing, in my opinion, there's just nothing worth fighting about unless somebody's like being assaulted and you need to step in and physically remove them and help them out. But if it's over some verbal disagreement, like a girl or whatever, if you got to say something, say it. But once it gets to the physical stuff, it's like, for me, it's
you can literally kill somebody by punching them in the face. I've seen it. Like in Vegas, there was like an article, maybe like last year or something. But this guy was in Vegas, punched another guy in the face, and he died. He killed him. One punch, Evan. One punch on the street, bam, a clean punch, and then he died.
Yeah.
Now you murdered somebody.
And a lot of the times, I think it's from them hitting the ground, from when they get knocked in the face and they're hitting so hard on the ground, it just cracks their skull or something, swelling. But it's for me, I've just always avoided those confrontations. So I don't know, but
it's a maturity thing too as you get older,
Yeah. But even when I was younger, I think when I was younger, it was more so I was afraid to fight. Like I was just always smaller when I was younger. And then my junior year of high school is when I hit like my growth spurt or whatever. But then I still had that like smaller mentality of like, I don't want to fight anybody. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. But then I started to work out and I started to be like bigger than a lot of people. But then I was just like, well, is it even worth it? Because then I felt like I was so strong. I don't know, like I don't want to hurt, like I don't want to brag, but like
I got the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah. I just didn't want to hit anybody and do something like serious to them, I just avoid the confrontation and altogether. And I'm naturally just a pretty like go with the flow, nonchalant, like very chill person. So
You are.
It's never been my thing. So yeah, man. Anyways, I don't know how we got into talking about UFC fights, but
Brain concussion, CTE.
concussions.
That's
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next on the agenda here?
That was everything that I wanted to cover today. Pretty much.
Shit. Nice.
You can tell me a little bit about the Bulls, any kind of storylines going on. I can tell you about some baseball. Oh yeah, this baseball shirt. The Boston Red Sox are on have the tied for the best record in the AL. So if you want to pick up a Boston Red Sox shirt, monsters are real. Pick up a green monster shirt. But a lot of good baseball going on. Not Cubs, but baseball storylines, the Dodgers and the Padres, Evan. If you want to watch baseball that's not Cubs related, that is entertaining, watch the Cubs and the Padres. It is a World Series every time they play. First series they played, benches cleared twice. The Padres won 1 out of 3 games. Dodgers took the other 2, but it has just been electric, man. Just high intensity. A lot of stuff going on. So if you're looking for anything outside of the Cubs that's entertaining baseball, they're going to play again another series starting Friday.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you had mentioned that MLB ratings are like super high on MLB TV.
Oh, yes. That was the other thing I wanted to cover. So MLB TV, the last 18 days has been the highest amount of baseball ever watched. And that's including the blackouts. Imagine if they didn't have blackouts. And we were talking about in a previous episode about growing the game of baseball. And this is, I think this is a turning point, or at least an indication that people are into it. People are watching baseball more, are getting into the storylines, are following teams, following these players. And that's even with those blackouts. If they didn't have those blackouts, it would be even more so. So I just really like to see those kind of things, the game growing, people following it. So yeah, I thought that was a really, really cool thing.
How I don't know if you heard me. I was saying, like, how come what are they doing different right now that they weren't doing, before, that people are tuned in? I honestly don't know. It's not the rule changes. There's nothing about the rules. If you didn't watch baseball before, you're not watching it now because they put a guy on second base in extra innings. You're not watching it now if you didn't watch it before because a pitcher has to pitch to 3 batters. Those rule changes don't bring any new viewership at all. That's a fucking lie. I don't know if it has to do with promotion or people being recognizing more players, and maybe they'll see, these stories like, oh, benches cleared, or Nick Castellanos flexing on someone. Maybe because there's lack of sports going on now. Maybe if nobody's really interested in NBA, there's no football. And it's just kind of that period before, I don't know who's watching hockey, but if that's like the main sport that's going on right now and has the most exciting stuff, that could be an indicator as well. Yeah, I think we talked about it too before, but I think maybe there's more personalities right now in the MLB than there have been before. Like, maybe guys are more on social media. They're louder. They're wearing like big old chains,
colored hair. This guy in the Marlins, Jazz Chisholm, he's got bright blue hair. He's super fast. Yeah, exactly.
Swag. There's a lot more swag, and so there's a lot more fun. I just think if you can establish yourself as a character or someone that stands out, I think people naturally gravitate towards watching those guys play. So I think that might be something that's taking place. I think I've seen a lot more bat flips too, more so than recently. Like, nobody ever used to flip their bat, but I feel like I keep seeing it. Like, I don't know. Am I crazy? Is that actually happening more?
I mean, the last couple of years, I wouldn't say just this year, but the last couple of years, it's become the new trend, the new baseball. And I think we talked about this too, about how, pitchers don't like that. And it's a new exciting part of baseball. And
Yeah. Real quick too, before we wrap up, I know you already did your a small rant on Hendrick's start the other day.
Yeah, I had to do that so quietly. I was with my wife and I had to do it quietly, and I was a few sheets to the wind. So I didn't get to do too much of an analysis, but I just kind of gave a little bit of breakdown. But yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, I was going to say, that as someone that watches baseball casually, I'm not like, if I had the Marquee Network, which I don't, fuck you, Ricketts family, for doing all that and not
Yeah.
giving it out to, the streaming platforms and forcing us to have Comcast, which I don't have, so I can't watch it. But they finally played on ESPN.
Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, Sunday Night Baseball, and they started fucking Hendricks. And my God, I mean, and I know it was the first ever for a Cub to have give up 4 home runs in the first.
Correct.
I mean, at what point, like, why did they allow him to pitch still? Like, I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I said too. In that video, I said,
Yeah.
Rossi, come get your boy, because there is a point where it's like you don't got the stuff tonight, or
Right.
and he's a proven ace. Like he's our ace. So
Yeah.
there are just some nights that you don't have it, and either they're not prepared to get someone up and throwing, start tossing, get ready, because and then sometimes it's the game's already out of reach. You're out, you're down by 6, first inning, right? Okay, probably not going to get this one yet. And then they scored. Then they scored 2 or 3 runs. So it was only 6-3 in the first or second inning. I think it was the second inning, 6-3. So they closed the gap. They're like, all right, we could put up some runs. So maybe now your leash gets a little bit more because, okay, we put up some runs. So you want to get a certain amount of pitches out of your starter too. Just because what are you going to do? Throw 35 pitches in the first inning, give up 6 runs, and now you're done for the day. It's like, well, you fucked up so far. So we're just going to run you into the ground, give us another 3 innings, maybe get our bullpen up and running. Yeah. And it's all on the manager. There's a lot of things that I don't know if you've noticed it. But there's just no energy, no leadership. It's very flat. Nobody's excited. The only excitement we get is when Wilson Contreras does something and he brings excitement and energy. I mean, I just feel like it's very dead. And you can't expect them to win because you were never trying to win if you're trading away your runner-up to the Cy Young last year, Yu Darvish, to the Padres. You're not trading that piece away if you're trying to win this year. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you like David Ross? Or do you think he's only got the job because he was a catcher and they basically just gave him the job because he's a familiar face?
That probably had something to go into it. I mean, he's not a dummy. But just what I have seen from players striking out, popping out, nobody hitting, and seeing them walk into the dugout.
Yeah.
Just kind of stands there. There's no communication. I don't know if he's a little timid, maybe not so vocal. He's not a rah yelling type. But at this point, I want to see something change. Something.
I don't really so I haven't watched many games. Because, like I said, I don't have the marquee, but I don't get good leadership vibes from him. I don't think he has the personality to be an MLB coach and lead and deal with all these personalities on get your head in the game, man. Let's get shit going. Get your shit together. He doesn't seem like a very inspirational guy to me. He seems like somebody that would when you're doing well, he'll be really happy, but he doesn't seem like someone that would deal with adversity well. Well,
you know why also, Evan? Because he's also been teammates with half of those guys.
Right.
We've been teammates. So now we're going to have, that's like having Laurie Markkinen coaching the Bulls next year. It's like, well, we were teammates together 4 years ago, now you're the manager but no, you're right. I don't think he has not too much fire. I haven't seen any fire. And I know it's early in the season, but in order to course correct something's got to get done. You're the man in charge. You are the leader of that team, right? You're the manager. And everyone has their different styles. Joe Madden had his certain style where he's, cool, groovy, and he played loose, man. And that worked. And that worked for that group of guys. But every year is a new group of guys. So I don't know.
I feel like the best coaches in any sport are coaches that have a personality that you can kind of define, if that makes sense. Okay, so Tom Thibodeau, and I'm going to talk about it from a Chicago Bulls standpoint, and you can probably relate to football too, but because I don't know baseball as much as you do, but for instance, Tom Thibodeau, you knew he was going to be a hard ass, tough ass. That's what you're going to get, and he's going to bring it every game. And,
defensive focus, right?
Yeah, you know what he's doing. He's the coach of the New York Knicks right now, and they're actually really good compared to how they were the previous years. They're finally a good team. and it's because he's there and he's coaching his ass off, and he's a hard ass. And then you look at like somebody like Billy Donovan right now. You kind of know he's like a motivational guy. Like if you suck, he's going to tell you like, you got to get better, but I'm going to pump you up. So you know how he is. I just think if you can define the coach, you kind of know what to expect. I just don't know what David Ross is good at. Like, I don't know if he's good at like hyping guys up. Is he good at like getting pissed off? Like, I don't think he's good at anything. So I don't think he's a great coach because of that. So
yeah, but as far as you're saying, like, I wouldn't know how to define him either. I mean, he's not a rah go get him kind of guy. He's more soft spoken. And obviously we don't see what goes on in the clubhouse, but yeah, lack of leadership, lack of fire, lack of tenacity. They don't got it, man. They don't got it. They're living in the basement of the NL Central, and it's going to stay like that until something changes. The Reds can run away with it. Reds are really good. If you look at their run differentials, the amount of runs that they score more than the other team that they're playing, they're the tops in the league. They're scoring more runs than their opponents by a lot. Cardinals are playing really well. Milwaukee beat our butts. So, I mean, get used to living with the Pirates, bro. If you don't, change stuff around. So, I don't know. There's going to be a breakdown coming either this year or next year with the trade deadline coming up. We'll talk about this too, Evan, when the trade deadline comes up. Chris Bryant might be gone. They might start dishing off some pieces coming up here pretty soon for a full rebuild.
Yeah, I believe it. It seems like it's been kind of inevitable here for a little bit now. So
Javi turned down an offer this summer. Bryant isn't going to get an offer with us. Rizzo and the Cubs didn't reach an agreement. They're playing. I told you. What's his nuts? The owner's name. What's his name?
Oh, Ricketts.
Ricketts. I think he's trying to collect money from all the money that he lost in COVID, from all the investments that he's making around Wrigleyville in the hotels and the Dave and Buster's and the apartments and all this, the rooftops, all this stuff that he's invested around the stadium. He's trying to collect so he doesn't lose any losses and doesn't give a shit about the product on the field. But that's just what I think.
Yeah, man. at the end of the day, it's a business, and I don't want to tell somebody how to spend their money. However, like, fuck, dude, like, he's real. I just feel like they're in a weird place right now. And I don't know enough about baseball to make like a super educated.
You keep saying that, Evan, but you do. You speak very well on it.
But I don't know like all the players. Like I do know Nico Hornier or whatever is like.
Ooh, Hornier, huh?
Hornier or whatever.
Hornier.
I know like they put him down in like the minors, right? Because like of some contractual issues, like they would have to pay him more if they brought him up early or something like that. So I don't know. And I think that speaks to your point. Like they're kind of being cheap right now. And I see that. I feel like that's kind of definitely impacted the way the team's playing. And I think that probably rubs off on the players too. They're probably like, well, this guy doesn't fucking care. Like we're not trying to win shit.
Right.
So
like I said, when you trade away your best pitcher who finished second in the Cy Young, you're not trying to win this year. Then if you're trying to win, you would keep him. That's the biggest. That's one of the best pitchers in baseball. So you have to know that going in. Yeah, just a lot going on. But
poor Cubs.
What it is. Side note: we got an exciting partnership coming up that we'll speak about. We're just finishing up some stuff, so we will have an announcement soon. We also have an event coming up May 9th at Black Barrel Tavern in the city. It's by Greektown. So we will be doing a show there May 9th. I'll start putting out some other stuff for that. But do Bulls play tonight, Evan?
They do not. They play tomorrow, though, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Chicago Bulls have won 2 in a row. They beat the Cavaliers the other night, and then last night they beat the Celtics, which was an unexpected win. Arguably their best win of the season was last night. So a win they needed. They're trying to make this play-in game. There's a new play-in game series thing now where like the 10th seed plays the 10th through like the 7th seed play each other to make their way into the playoffs for the last like 2 teams.
It's like weird. A loser's bracket almost.
Basically, yeah, it's exactly what it is. So they're trying to make their way into that. They're like barely scraping their way into that, which is pretty pathetic.
Yeah, I saw you posted, or maybe I saw it. for the playoffs. And I think the top was maybe the Heat, and they're like at 500, and then all the way down to the Bulls, and they're like what, 23 and 33, something like that.
Something like that. They have not won many games. They really like suck right now. It's rather disappointing. I didn't think they were going to win a championship by any means this season. I did think that they would make the playoffs though. And right now it's looking slim. They have a chance for sure. There's a good chance, but that would mean they, get the playing game. They win those. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
man.
honestly, who fucking cares making it into the playoffs if you're not going to do anything? And maybe you think differently, but when, Cubs or whatever, or any kind of baseball team that I care about, and they're barely squeaking in, I understand anything can happen once you get into the playoffs, but a lot of the time it's not true though. It's like you either have a 3-game series, a 5-game series, and if you don't got your shit, it's not going to happen. So why watch me get our asses kicked or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not March Madness. It's not a one single game elimination. It's not the NFL where it's a single game elimination. It's a series. So typically the better team's going to come out on top. And the other thing about that is when you make the playoffs and you're a good team, or not a good team, but you're just on the brink of being a playoff team and you get in, then you like screw yourself over in the lottery
with picks and stuff, right?
Picks. And so
we talked about that with the Bears constantly being like where you fuck yourself, where you're not super bad, but you're not super good to do anything. Yeah,
mediocrity, mediocre, whatever. I mean, so they're in a weird place right now. They have 2 all-stars too. They have Nikola Vucevic and they have Zach LaVine, who are 2 all-stars, and they've been losing to teams recently. Other than the Cavs and the Celtics, they were on a 6-game losing streak or something like that, 4 or 5. I can't remember, but it was bad. I want to say it was like 6. But yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough being a Bulls fan, but I keep doing my podcast and trucking away. Please follow me if you're not already. It's Double Overtime Podcast, DABULL, Doubles. So
yeah,
I've been getting more followers too. It's been nice.
Good.
Yeah, I've been following a lot of people though, but yeah, people are following me back, so it's been nice.
Yes, well, you're putting out more content. We're tagging each other and stuff, so it's all going good.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Cool stuff.
All right, bro. I think that about does it for tonight. I'm going to turn on this Cubs game. They're up 2-0 right now against the Mets, so I got to catch up and see what's going on.
Good stuff. All right, man.
All right.
Word.
Every day I'm shuffling.